Welcome to the Lead Well podcast, where I have fascinating conversations with insightful female leaders who are changing the world to discover what leading well means to them. In these real conversations, we'll discover what makes them thrive, discover their journey, the challenges they've faced, and most importantly, how they navigate this decade of disruption and transformation. In each compelling conversation, you'll receive raw and relatable advice, thought-provoking ideas, and explore how to effectively lead from the front. Welcome to the Lead Well podcast. I'm Karen Phillips, and today we have the opportunity of speaking with the very famous Dr. Maria, as known across the UAE. And of course, she is a lead aesthetic and functional gynecologist and also a menopause specialist. She specialises here at King's College Hospital, London, working with women through all stages of their life. Today, we hear about her journey as to how she became a specialist in this area, talking about women in the different stages of their lives, how they can lead through the period of menopause, and basically how we can lead well. Dr. Maria, we are so excited to have you joining us today on the Lead Well podcast. I wanted to start with asking, how did you become involved with being a gynecologist to start with, specialising in menopause? This is not the regular path for a doctor. So did you choose this at university? Did you have family involvement? Why choose this?
It was not, I didn't know when I started the medical school that I wanted to do gynecology and even more menopause or aesthetic and functional gynecology, what I'm doing now. So that comes with the years. In the medical school, you get to know different things, you see what you like. I was very, very amazed by obstetrics at the beginning. The fact that you deliver babies, you bring a new life in the world. And that was the reason why I have chosen gynecology and obstetrics. So, but when I finished my residency, I realized that I liked very much hormones. I was fascinated by the way that hormones work in the female body.
Yes.
And in all stages of life, actually, it's not only menopause where hormones are so important. So, and that's why I did a master degree for 2 years, a very intensive one, in gynecological endocrinology. And this is how I got involved more into hormones in depth. And then I did also children and adolescents gynecology. I was trained into that as well. But from all the things that I did, menopause was the most interesting part. And back then I was not menopausal, but now I'm coming very close to it. So now I'm relating, I can
Living
relate. Exactly. I'm living it. So now it's part of my life, it's not only just an interest for something.
So let's jump into that for a moment. Menopause, I found with my time in the UAE, there's been a lot more open conversation than there ever was previously about involving women. How do they work effectively? Do they need time off? Going through this change of life as such. It's something we spoke about with teenagers going through their periods, what that might look like. But now obviously there's this transition as well, as that more mature women going through 40s, 50s or 60s are actually going through their own changes. And how do we actually work effectively, successfully and lead well when we're actually going through hormonal changes? And, we talk about the simple things like, okay, you get a hot flush, you go red in the office, you're trying to present somewhere and your face starts to flush and your neck does as well. You've got the sheets on, you've got the sheets off. But they're just a couple of very common effects of menopause. How does it really affect us? And we won't go too deep into it, but it's good to have a little understanding.
Yes, absolutely. True that only the last years it has started to get more open, the subject of menopause.
Yes.
Thankfully, not only in the UAE, I guess all over the world. I don't know how it is in Australia, but
not as much. I'm
not
going
as
to jump
much.
in and say,
Okay, maybe because in Australia you were more open through the years,
I'm not sure. I'm going to say, I'm not sure. I went
Okay.
home from here and the British Business Council had an event. And it was focused solely on menopause. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't imagine doing that in Australia, that we held an event. Would there be an interest? So I went back to Australia and I
Yeah.
started asking across industry,
Mm-hmm.
is there interested in this or are we still a little bit shy to talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of women and men, very importantly, said, no, this is something we need to discuss. But until
Mm-hmm.
you push the conversation,
Yes,
it's
yes.
kept in the shadows.
Yeah. Okay. But it has started.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sure it will be spread all over the world at some point. Hormone replacement therapy, because that's a treatment that we do in the menopause. That means that what happens in the menopause, perimenopause, menopause is that the estrogen levels mainly and also other hormones, they just drop. That's the natural thing. This is what we expect. Some women, they will react to these changes. Other women, they will not react. So some are sensitive and they get symptoms and other not. But the majority is sensitive indeed. So what we need to do is just to give back to the body, to our body, what we are missing. And that's something that people used to do. It was a very common practice up to 2000. In 2000, a very huge study came out and found that HRT hormones has many negative effects in
Yes.
women's health.
We heard that, didn't we?
Exactly, exactly. It was a huge study. Everyone was influenced by that. All doctors suddenly stopped using hormones. However, we are now 23 years later, and
Yes.
not now, even years and years before, we knew that this study had a lot of errors. So, and was not accurate because they put women from a very wide range of age, and they gave a medication that we don't give anymore, a very strong HRT pill, synthetic
Yes.
pill. We don't really give it anymore. So, and uh, independently of what condition every woman had or the age of the woman, the background of her health, they just put some, they have, they put some conclusion down. So there were many meta-analyses and we found out that no, this is not the reason. This is not how it works. And HRT is not the reason of all the bad things that, you
course.
put on the table. And that didn't happen now 20 years, 23 years back. That happened actually a few years later. So when you were talking, I'm talking about HRT and I'm giving HRT at least for the past 15 years when I started to be more active in menopause.
Wow.
I was like a witch, hormones, no, you will get this and this and this, which is not true. There is a very safe way to take your hormones.
But you'd studied in this as well. So
Yes.
as part of your master's, you'd been through the research.
Exactly.
You'd looked at actually how it works with not only just women in general, but individuals. And you
Yes.
had a solid understanding of what would advance women
Yes,
and
exactly.
support them. But really importantly as well, I think, nurture them on their journey, because for many women, they feel like this is a single solitary journey they are
Yes.
undertaking on their own.
Yes.
And so to know there is this support mechanism available or different options available is so important.
Exactly. It was very interesting to see how the attitude towards HRT
Yes.
and how the interest about menopause in general grew through the years. So we started from 2000 of having HRT really demonized, like it's the worst thing in the world.
Yes.
But women in the perimenopause and in the menopause, imagine it starts approximately 40 plus, okay, and goes up to maybe 60. So in this age, women, what we have to face? Usually, we are at the top of our career.
Yes, of course.
Usually, we have small children. Usually, we have parents to take care of, right? So, and of course, the everyday life. So, think how challenging this period of our life is. Okay, so and you have something that can really help you, and it will be taken away by a study which was not again correct. And then you see that, okay, you do that, women try to find alternatives, but then the alternatives do not really work as they should, and then start the interest slowly. And then you have to convince people, you have to educate people,
But now we'll come back to 2023.
Exactly.
So now it's available. Now women have support mechanisms in place. And you're so right. And this is what I wanted to talk about with you today, is this women in leadership. Now we talk about leadership of our own lives, leadership of family, leadership within the organization. And you're correct that many women going through menopause, as an example, are in their 40s or 50s. They've maybe come back after having babies. And so now they're mid-management, senior management, CEO. How do we balance, just normally, let's just talk as women for a moment.
Yes.
And not just even about menopause, but just how do you, as a young woman, you say that, you're at the beginning of that journey of menopause, but how do you stay at the front line of your career?
Yes. First of all, I treat myself with whatever I need, to be treated, because I know that my estrogen is not the same anymore as it used to be.
So you feel different.
Yes. So I take my hormone replacement therapy, the body identical hormones, which are very, very safe and natural. So that I feel better. I have more energy. I can sleep better. I'm not that irritable. Okay.
Now, we're not allowed to say that too loudly in case the men hear, because it's natural, isn't it? We become irritable. And
Yes.
I think because it happens over time as well,
Yeah.
we sometimes don't realize, but friends and family will commonly say, you're not quite who you were.
Yes.
And we're
yes,
not
definitely.
sure why. We just think we're tired. We think
Yeah.
we're run down.
Yes,
We don't
yes.
realize perhaps even in ourselves that it's actually a medical condition or a medical process.
Exactly. So women that come and they seek for help, they will say, I don't recognize myself anymore. And this is what happens. So one part is this. And then, of course, lifestyle is very, very important.
Yes.
If I don't keep my routine, like exercising every morning, having a diet which is what I like, and at the same time healthy and suits me, if I don't sleep 8 hours, now it used to be 5 hours. 5 hours I would be top fit the next day, right? Then it became 6 hours. Last year was 7 hours. Now I feel that if I don't sleep 8 hours, I cannot perform the next day. I'm tired.
But do we spend enough time thinking about this? Because you're talking about transitioning and saying you've realized, and obviously this is your area of specialty, but you've realized that it went from 6 to 7, and now last year you say 8. Most of us think I had a coffee late, or the world is busy. And lots of women say to me all the time, I'm just busy and so I'm tired. And I say to them, well, are you really tired, or are you really busy, or are things not quite balanced?
Yes.
And it takes this sitting back and actually knowing ourselves very well. You've specialized in this. So it seems to me you know yourself, you know your body clock.
Yeah.
You know your insides well. But for other women, how could we think about what that might look like? Is it if we're not feeling 100%, if we're looking at our eyes and they're not as bright and shiny?
Yes. I think we all know when changes are happening in our life, right? We are not that happy. The perimenopause, this stage of life, what is often very common is the fatigue. The first thing that a woman will come and then will seek for help for that. You feel tired, as you say. So if you feel tired for more than a period of time where you have a lot of stress in your job, but you continue to feel tired, then something is missing. Then you have to change something. And if you don't know what it is, then just go to your doctor. Maybe it's just an iron deficiency. Maybe you just need to optimize your vitamins, something simple. But I would say whenever you feel that something has changed and bothers you, because we know what bothers us, okay, then just go and ask and seek for help and see if you can change it.
And take the time.
Yes.
I think for ourselves, I think as women and as leaders, for many of us, we're so busy supporting others, whether it's our family, our elderly parents, as you say, when you start moving through life into 40s and 50s, 60s, but really importantly, those around us in our corporation as well, in our daily life, is that we sometimes forget ourselves.
Exactly.
Now, I want to jump across for a minute. how did you begin? Because your accent says that you're not Dubaian originally.
No, no.
That's, as many that come here, so many
Not
of
in
us.
the UK as well,
Yeah, that's
obviously.
right. So why medicine? Why did you love medicine to begin with? Because in Australia,
Mm,
in our age group, it was very much about if you had the points at school,
yes.
then you would choose to be a doctor or a
Yeah.
dentist, and then
Mhm.
you would move through specialties. But
Yes.
for you had
Yeah.
a great love from the beginning, didn't you?
I had, and to be honest, the reason why I wanted to go to medicine was I wanted to save the world. When I was 12, 14, my father is a neurosurgeon, and my older brother, 7 years older than me, he's also a doctor. So my father would try to convince me so hard not to go into medicine.
But
Uh,
why was that, do you think? Was it because you were a female? Was it because he knew how hard it would be?
yeah,
Yeah.
because he knew how hard he would be. He, as neurosurgeon, I used to see him very, very little, very few hours in a day. If sometimes I wouldn't see him at all. And I think he wouldn't like the same for his daughter. For his son, of course,
Yes.
was different. Of course,
But he wants grandchildren from you, so
yeah.
it's always different with the daughter. Well, it seems to be anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to save the world. I wanted to go to the countries where they really need medical care and they don't have it and help. And that was the reason why I went into medicine.
So you knew from such a young age. When I talk to so many
Mm.
leaders, they had an inkling way back in their teenage years or their childhood. There was a moment when they thought, this is who I could be. And then they
Yes.
moved towards that position. When you talk to leaders about leadership, in your own life as well, you lead as a specialist, you lead as an industry expert. You have your own podcasts, and you're a media celebrity here as well. Do you find it hard with others looking up to you that you always have to maintain, because your area is not only looking after women, but it's also the beautification of women as well in some ways,
Yeah.
is that you have to always be 2 steps ahead?
Definitely. If you want to stay at the position where you want to be always up to date and offer the best to your patients, definitely you have to, all the time be involved. It's part of your life. It's not
Yes.
8 hours work, 10 hours work, and then I close whatever my PC and I go back home and I don't think about it. It's a 24/7. Even sometimes you dream of that. You have some ideas. You wake up and you say, this is it. Now I know. Or you drive and you think, how should I do this, or what? I'll do. I was driving today and I was thinking, I'm sure that there is a relationship between ADHD and menopause. There must be something like menopausal ADHD. I was thinking of that when I was driving. I'm
Maybe that's
thinking
what
of
I
that.
have.
I'm
But,
sure there is something about it.
Mm.
And actually, I was talking with Kimberly, our CEO, yesterday about starting a study about it. Yes.
But this is how it happens, isn't it? And I think leaders take opportunities as well. So it's not just within that 8-10 hour working
No,
day.
it's a non-stop. It's a non-stop.
It's the
It
conversations that
comes
continue
natural.
outside work. But
Yes.
work isn't just within a hospital or within the aesthetics clinic.
No,
It's actually what you live. And
exactly.
whenever I speak to leaders, particularly female leaders, it's not that they're not switched off, because we all need downtime
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And I know that you care for yourself, you exercise, sometimes you have spa days, which is really important as well. But it's very important that we think outside the square, and sometimes within an organization you're within that square.
Yes. Yes.
When you're sitting outside, you're relaxing, your mind wanders, and
True.
you allow yourself that opportunity to consider other options, because in your work it's not just operations, so it's following process,
Yes.
it's actually considering what the future might hold.
Yes, definitely. And this is creative. This is artistic.
We
This is
wouldn't think of
love.
that. We wouldn't
Yeah.
think of this in your world though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how it naturally comes out.
Mm.
And I'm a very artistic person. I will tell you something about my story when you ask me how you started and how. So I had two passions. One was that I wanted to save through medicine the world, and the other
Yes.
is that I wanted to become an actress.
Ah.
So when I was doing my residency, I went through a difficult period in my life, in my personal life. So, and I said, you know what? Now I want to try that as well. I want to study drama and see how it is. And for 2 years, almost 3 years, I was doing both together. So I would leave the hospital and I would go in the evening in the drama school, and I studied that as well.
So did you want to be an actress or television or film or
Yeah,
stage? Theatre, so
stage.
stage,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes. I loved theater, and I still love very much theater. But what I want to say is that I questioned medicine at some point, and I questioned it in my 30s. I said, is it really what I want to do? The medicine that I can do in reality, not the medicine that I wanted to do when I was 12, you
Ah,
know?
yes.
And working on that through the drama school, doing all these things, it came then naturally that this is what you want to do. I will never forget. I had a role in the drama school as someone who was addictive in drugs,
Yes.
and at the same time, I was following up a pregnancy of a woman who was addictive on drugs. So, and at that stage, I thought, okay, Maria, what would you like to do? Would you like to give the message from the stage only to the intellectual people who will come and see you? Or would you like to be practically there and do something for everyone? And this is the moment when I said, okay, now I'm done with drama. I did it,
Wow.
I tried it, I love it, but that I love more.
And it's a
So,
sliding door in life, isn't it? If that moment hadn't occurred, which of course it was always meant to,
yeah.
but they say art is life and life is art,
Yes,
is that you
yes,
get to perform this now as well with specialty surgeries as well,
yes,
is to actually re-beautify and
yes,
recreate the women's image from head to toe
yes.
and to give them this self-confidence. You really, I think, in many ways specialize in self-confidence. In
True,
and
true. It's all about that.
and that is about, one of the key essence of being a leader as well as having self-confidence. How important is that for women through all stages of their life?
Older people, more experienced people should try and give that to younger people. Should try
Ah,
to
pass it through. Yes.
pass it
Yeah.
and also inspire them
Mm.
and give them a reason to do things and for themselves and feel better with themselves and feel more self-confident.
Mm.
However, I think that development comes also through difficult periods in our life,
Yes.
right?
Challenges.
Challenges, even when you think that you are not good enough, you criticize yourself, and that's also okay. That goes hand in hand with self-confidence.
With learning though, isn't it?
Yes,
Adapting and stretching. And I always say to young leaders that when you stretch, you can't fall back into the same position. If you stretch the rubber band, you stretch it outwards, and
hmm,
then you're never the same. So
yes,
life is always about stretching yourself in a
yes,
leadership journey, isn't
yeah,
it? To
yeah,
gain that confidence.
definitely.
And today it's such a joy to spend time with you. As a leader, if there was one thing you could do to change, what would that be for tomorrow?
I would like to change the hesitation that women sometimes have to seek for help.
Mm.
I would like to raise as much as I can awareness about options that women have in their life. They don't have to suffer for many things. And when it comes to my profession, they don't have to suffer with gynecological issues that might be common, but they are not necessarily normal.
Yes.
So they should, I would like to support them and make them go out and seek for help and just speak out whatever bothers them.
And to be confident in knowing that, I think trust plays a big part here,
Yeah.
is that if you're speaking to a specialist you trust
Yes.
and you feel you can share your inner secrets, because for many women, sharing about their bodies or their functionality, things that may not work, or they're not sure if it does work or this is normal, to be able to sit across the table from someone like you and to look into your eyes and feel that you are hearing my story
Yes.
and you are interested in my story, that makes me see that there are options and then feel confident in the trust I have with you that I might try something or that it is worthwhile or it could change my life. And
Yes.
I've met some of your patients, I must say, over the last few months. And the change in them I've seen before, I've seen afterwards, but the change, the true transformation in the
Yes.
way they stand, the way they hold themselves, and the
Definitely.
look in their eye, knowing that they feel happier within themselves for the transformation they've undertaken. And that comes down to trust. So as a leader, what is the last thing that you would like to share? What does the next 12 months look like for you?
Going out and talk as much as possible.
Sharing. Yes.
Give information from my heart and telling, don't be scared. Just go, not necessarily to me, whatever bothers you, just go and ask. And if one professional that you found is not the right one for you, try and find someone else. Go for the second, So don't stop to look for an answer to your problem, because there is almost always something to do about things that bother us.
And I think that's a leadership lesson as well. It's not just about our health. It's not just about aesthetics and looking and feeling better, but it's actually about our leadership lessons, which is what we're here to talk about on the Lead Well podcast, is leading well, leading feeling confident, but also that leadership journey. If you don't know, ask. If you're not sure, find a mentor. If you need some assistance, seek until you receive that, because that's how we grow as leaders.
Yes.
Well, what a pleasure to spend time with you today,
So
Dr.
nice.
Maria.
So nice.
It's our great joy. We look forward to seeing you on the show very soon.
Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you.